Hey all, let's look at the concept of international trade. We would look at why countries trade with each other. We have the concept of absolute advantage. This one says a country can produce more items compared to another country. Now we have the concept of comparative advantage. This one says a country can produce at least one good at a lower opportunity cost compared to another nation. In my example, I have two countries, Australia and Canada. Now, Australia can use all its resources and produce 50 apples or 150 oranges. Canada can produce all its resources and produce either 200 apples or 200 oranges. We can represent it using this production possibility frontier. Australia can be at this point. Here it is producing, let's say this is point A, 0 oranges and 50 apples. Or it can be at this point where it is producing 0 apples and 150 oranges. This is the production possibility frontier of Australia. Compare that to Canada. Let's say this is point C and this is point D. Canada can be at point C producing 200 apples and 0 oranges, or it can be at point D producing 200 oranges and 0 apples. So this is the production possibility frontier for Canada. Going back to these numbers, we would say the country of Canada has absolute advantage for both apples and oranges. That means it can produce more apples and more oranges compared to the Australian economy. Here we would look at the concept of comparative advantage. Comparative advantage means lower opportunity cost. For the Australian economy, I can write either 50 apples or 150 oranges. Now, this or translates into equal to. And for the Canadian economy, I can write either 200 apples or 200 oranges. This we can write as equal to. Next, I want to find out the opportunity cost of each item. The opportunity cost of one apple for Australia is 150 over 50. That's 3 oranges. And for Canada, I can write the opportunity cost of one apple is equal to 1 orange. This concept of opportunity cost means if I'm doing something, what I can't do. For the Australian economy, if they're producing one apple, they have to sacrifice or cannot produce 3 oranges. For the Canadian economy, they have to sacrifice one orange only to produce one apple. We have to look at which country is sacrificing less of the other item. The Canadian economy is sacrificing only one orange compared to to 3 oranges by the Australian economy. That means it's cheaper to produce an apple in the Canadian economy compared to the Australian economy. So we can say Canada has a lower opportunity cost in the production of apples. Lower opportunity cost means this country has a comparative advantage in the production of apples because it is sacrificing less oranges compared to Australia in the production of one apple. Now look at the economy of Australia. If it is producing one orange, it's sacrificing one third of an apple. For the Canadian economy, if it produces one orange, it's got to sacrifice one apple. Now we see here the Australian economy is sacrificing less apples compared to the Canadian economy. Because it is sacrificing less apples to produce one orange, we say Australia has a comparative advantage in the production of oranges. From here, we can say if one country has a comparative advantage in the production of one item, the other country will have a comparative advantage in the production of another item. And this forms the basis of international trade. Next, when we look at specialization, we would let the country of Australia produce 150 oranges and 0 apples. That means it's going to be at this point. And the country of Canada, the Canadian economy, they would produce 200 apples and 0 oranges. So it's going to be at point C. They would specialize, they would agree upon a terms of trade, and they would trade with each other. So this forms the basis of international trade, and that's the concept of comparative advantage or lowest opportunity cost. All right, if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel.